All right, so this is the rubber band stretchy thing. So first off, there is in your agenda, there is a help video called Rubber Band. It's the very first help video that will give you some additional assistance. But let's go ahead and look at this one. It looks like obviously you have this trying to fit into this smaller space, so you need to shrink it in some way. So let's first start by counting how many hops the positions of the rubber bands are. So the first line, I'm going to make 0. Then I'm going to hop 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is the numerator of any ratio we make. All right. Now let's look at the bottom where the grass is. I'm going to start with the first vertical line and say 0, 1, 2. So 2 is the denominator of the ratio. So we have a 4 to 2 ratio. Now, with these, it's helpful to simplify the ratio as much as you can. So 4 to 2, it's just like simplifying a fraction. So, all right, so we have 4 to 2 are our initial positions of the rubber bands. That's where they're hanging. All right, I'm going to simplify this by a common factor. The greatest common factor between 4 and 2 is 2. So 2 goes, there's only 2 factors of 2 because 2 is a prime number, 1 and 2. So 2 also goes into 4 evenly. So I'm going to divide by 2, and this simplifies into 2 over 1. So this is a 2 to 1 ratio. So that's the first thing you need to figure out is the simplified ratio of what you have. Now, let's look at where these positions are. This is at 0. So the first rubber band is at 0. So I need to find the equivalent where the first one needs to also be at 0. So 2 times what is 0? 0, right? So this also needs to be at 0. 1 times 0 is 0. So go ahead and hang the first, Johnny, hang the first rubber band onto 0. There you go. That was pretty easy. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the second rubber band is on 4. So let me go back to my Jamboard. I have a 2 to 1 ratio. That's simplified. And I need to get to 4. So how do I get from 2 to 4? Multiply times 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. So I need to hook that second rubber band. Go ahead and hook it on position 2. Nope, that's position 1. Yep, okay, hit the arrow. All right, let's see the next one. What is the ratio? Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2. So this is still a 4 to 2 ratio. That means it's still simplified to 2 to 1. All right, this is at position 0, so go ahead and hook it on position 0, the first rubber band. Good. That's always pretty easy when it's on 0. All right, let's look at the second rubber band. That is currently at position 2. So I need to make sure I have this equivalent fraction properly. So it's a 2 to 1 ratio. So how do I get from 2 to 2? It's at position 2. So I did 2 times 1, right? 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. So I need to hook it on position 1. So go ahead and hook the second rubber band on position 1. There you go. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, we have a different ratio. Let's figure out the ratio. 0, 1, 2. So the top is 2. Let's look at the grass. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 to 4. So we have a new ratio of 2 to 4. So I'm going to go to my Jamboard. I'm going to say 2 to 4. Let's simplify it. It's kind of a good thing to do. What's the greatest common factor between 2 and 4? The answer is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this is simplified a 1 to 2 ratio. So this is pretty easy. It's hooked on 0. So go ahead and hook. It's hanging on 0 and go ahead and hook it on 0. Good. It's hanging on 2 and 2. It's hanging on 2. I'm sorry. Is it hanging on 2? 1, 2. Yes, it's hanging on 2. It is a 1 to 2 ratio. So we need to scale up by a factor of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So go ahead and hook it onto 4, Jelani. Yep. All right, so we still look like we have a 1 to 2 ratio. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So let's see. That 0 needs to hook to 0. All right, and this is at position 1. So let's figure out what that needs to do. If it's a 1 to 2 ratio and it's at position 1, that means we scaled up by a factor of 1. So go ahead and hook it on position 2. Yep. Okay, this looks like it's the same ratio. 2 to 4. 1, 2, 3. Yep. 2 to 4, which simplifies to 1 to 2. So it's a 1 to 2 ratio. So go ahead and hook that 0 to the 0. Hook that 1 to the 2. Sorry, I kind of did that one in my head. It's a 1 to 2 ratio, so it was a little simple. All right, here goes a different ratio. Let me figure out what it is. We have 0, hop 1, 2, 3, 4. So the numerator is 4. Let's look at the grass. 0, hop 1, 2, 4 to 2. So we've done that ratio already. It's 4 to 2, which simplifies to 2 to 1. So we are working with a 2 to 1 ratio. So where is the first rubber band hooked? Not Geo. Jelani, where's the first rubber band hooked? At position 2. Good. So it's already at position 2. We're doing a 2 to 1 ratio. So let me just erase this real quick. This is an old problem. 2 to 1 ratio is the same as it's at position 2. So you go ahead and hook it on 1 because the ratio is 2 to 1. All right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So we still have a 4 to 2 ratio, which simplifies to 2 to 1. And the first rubber band is hanging on 2. So where does that need to go? It's a 2 to 1 ratio. It's hanging on 2, so it needs to hook on 1. No, that last ratio, you're correct. that last rubber band, it goes in the last one. You were correct. Now the first rubber band should be hooked on position 1. All right, let's see. The ratio changed. What's the ratio, Jelani? Yep, the original is 2 to 4, and that simplifies to a 1 to 2 ratio. So let me go back to this Jamboard. We're dealing with a 1 to 2 ratio now. So the first rubber band is hooked on position 1, so it needs to hang. It's hanging on position 1. It needs to hook on position 2. Did you 9? 8:30 and 9? Not 9. I did 8:30 already. You want it? Not right this second. And then the last one goes to the last one. Yay!